Hello everyone, welcome back to my Warframe videos. Today I've got a top 5 Warframe for beginners video. First up is Vault. As you can see on the screen here, there's some basic mods. Vault is useful for speed runs because of the speed abilities. He's also used an in-game for Eidolon hunting, so he's quite a useful frame. Even for item star or item treasure hunts, he's also good with the speed. I generally use him for quick capture missions as well, so definitely one of my recommended Warframes for new players, and you can get a prime version as well, so definitely useful. Go get it now. Okay, so then our second Warframe today is gonna be Loki Prime. He is a stealth Warframe, especially with the spy missions and those things. He's very useful for that. Also in the recent Eidolon event, he was quite useful for speeding up the actual mission because you could swap places with the objective and speed up the travel process. So with Loki, obviously you can just go invisible with him, or you can swap places. His decoy ability also has its uses at times, so definitely for new players getting through those early and even late game or sortie spy missions, he's a must have in my opinion. So it's also a prime version, so go and get him as well. Then next up we have one of my favorite Warframes, Wukong or Wukong Prime. With its abilities and its passives, he's definitely one of the most useful frames also for me in in-game, especially in doing arbitration missions, which I will touch on in a future video, or even steal path missions. His passive that allows him to cheat death makes it so useful to get through certain missions, especially arbitration missions where you don't have revives and you can instantly die, and he is quite useful because you basically have 3 free revives. So I definitely use Wukong Prime a lot for arbitration missions and Steel Path on my current account, because I'm still technically not set up to do Steel Path efficiently, but Wukong with certain weapons I can get through even Steel Path missions. I can, with his cheat deaths, it allows me to kill those assassins that comes up in Steel Path, so I'll definitely say try and get Wukong Prime, just because he can get you through early game quite efficiently, and when it comes to in-game missions and sortie missions and like the harder boss fights and stuff, you'll be able to get through those missions quite easily with him. Especially if you're battling with dying a lot in certain missions, he is quite useful. And also solo players, with his first ability, it gives him essentially another clone. You know, it can help you survive longer and fight efficiently, because that clone does use your weapons and your fourth ability, so definitely go check him out. Okay, and then next up we have Rhino Prime. I've actually touched already why he's useful in the previous video with the credit farming. With his second ability, the fact that Rhino is very difficult to kill, he's very useful in certain missions, especially index missions in my opinion, and then also the nightmare missions. Some of the nightmare modifiers with no shield and stuff, Rhino basically negates those effects completely. So especially for those kind of missions, or even boss fights for newer players that don't have a big arsenal of Warframes or weapons, he is quite useful. He can get you through quite a bit of the early game as well, and obviously in in-game with his toughness he'll get you through certain missions also when you don't have some of the other Warframes. Just remember, this is what I recommend for new players. These Warframes aren't necessarily the best in the game, but when you have limited slots or limited plat, these kind of Warframes are good investments for you early games to get through things, and then like I said, you can still use them late game. So Rhino is just another one I definitely recommend. His abilities are useful and can get you through a lot of things. Then lastly we're gonna have the big boy Nekros, in my opinion. At the end of the day, Warframe is a farming game. You need a lot of resources, and Nekros, especially with the fact that you can get the prime easily, it's not negated behind some mastery rank. With his third ability, Desecrate, you can essentially get extra loot, and like I said, Warframe is a loot game and you're gonna farm a lot of resources. So for newer players, if you have some plat, I'll definitely say try and pick up Nekros. Farm those resources a bit quicker. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're in a 20 minutes mission and you can get double resources almost to a point, definitely a useful ability. Obviously it also works on the concept of you have to use some weapons to slash up enemies just to get those body parts to disintegrate and get more loot out. So yeah, it obviously has other abilities, like its fear ability has its uses, its fourth ability it summons your undead minions and stuff. It helps, but Nekros' main purpose in my opinion will always be farm up resources more efficiently. So I hope you enjoyed this quick top 5 Warframes for beginners, and even veteran players can actually also use this list if you've been playing for a while. So I hope you enjoyed this. Until next time, this is Mr. Chief signing out, and please remember to leave a like and subscribe. Until next time.